you have observed the whole election process of 2008, and you have also observed and monitor all the process.
Yes.
What are the differences you found in between 2008 and 13 in the election process?
Well, the entire process is much more orderly, much more well organized. The new identification cards with photographs has been a very good improvement. They could have been issued a little bit earlier, but I think it was no real problem. I think the level of intimidation and violence is much better this time. Very little intimidation, although the Biden party, threatened people, but they didn't carry through. The poll officials were on time. The materials were there ahead of time. Almost everyone started when they were scheduled at 7 o'clock in the morning. The political party observers were very helpful to the polling officials. We didn't hear of any disturbance or interruptions of the polling places. So I think that, and of course the big difference was a much greater participation by the public. Although about 3.5 million less people on the polls, on the list, I think the turnout was much better. So all of those things were an improvement.
So are you happy with the process that is going on?
Yeah, except for the interruption now because the Maoists are losing in most places, and they have withdrawn from the counting. But with that one exception of the Maoist dissatisfaction, I'm very pleased.
Oh, we heard that you have also meeting with the Maoist leader Prachanda yesterday. What are the things you have discussed with him?
Well, I met with Bhattarai and also with Prachanda. I met with Prachanda late in the afternoon. I just urged him to let his questions and dissatisfactions be presented to the proper officials, the election commissioners first of all, and if necessary to the judiciary, and to resolve the differences peacefully. And I urged him also to continue participation in the Constituent Assembly with the seats that they will gain in the election process. And he said that he was going to meet with his party today, which is when you're talking to me, and that he would give me a report after the party meeting.
And also there are some of the party who did not participate in the election.
Yeah, no.
And do you see any danger of going out from this whole process? The UCPN has been come from the 2006.
I think the Baji faction is quite pleased with the results of the election, except for the tremendous turnout. And I don't know anything about the inter-party negotiations, but I don't see any real prospect of a reconciliation between Prachanda's group and Bhatia's group. I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay, the one thing I want to ask, Maoist has lost most of the seat.
Yes.
They won in 2008, and
Yes.
the UML and the Nepali Congress, Democrat and conventional, like a modern type of communist, are winning the seats
Yes,
right now, and the trend shows it will continue up to the counting. So what is your message for those who lose the election, and what is your message to the winners who are winning the election?
Well, the ones that lost, I think that one of the primary reasons was that since they came in first in 2008, the people expected them to use their leadership to secure an agreement on the Constitution. And since the Constitution was not prepared, many people blamed the Maoists for the failure. I think all the parties were to blame, but I think it's always the fact that the ones in the leadership get the primary blame when it's not successful. And I also advised them that they have many millions of people who look to them for leadership. Even with the low vote, they get millions of supporters. And I think it would be a mistake for them not to give their own supporters a voice in the new Constituent Assembly as the Constitution is written for the future, because the Constitution is very likely to be permanent, to continue for many decades in the future. And the Maoist voters need and deserve representation and a voice in the process. And I have also met with the leaders of the other major parties, and I hope that they will be gracious, will give the Maoists an adequate opportunity to come in and participate in the future, even though they didn't come in the first or second place. So gracious in victory and also gracious in defeat.
One last question.
Yes.
What you think Nepal Election Commission and the government should take more initiative to improve the whole electoral process in the next time, because we are also hoping for the local election quite soon.
I know. Well, I have been very congratulatory to the chairman, to the president, to the election commissioners. I think they have done an excellent job. And we've made recommendations for a few changes. I think it would be better in the future to have the votes counted at the polling place. This is done almost all over the world. I think it would be very good to maybe move toward an electronic voting system. In some countries they have a paper ballot printed up also. I think it would be good to make sure all the identification cards are issued well in advance. I would like to see the list of voters published so that people can look at the list, and if their name's not on it and they deserve to be, they can make the correction. There were some problems on counting time in observers gaining adequate permission to observe, to enter, particularly domestic observers. So a few changes like that, none of which are difficult to achieve because they've done in many other countries. But in general, my feeling toward the Election Commission and all the senior officials is one of thanks and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.